They're panicking, gang. The leftist activists disguised as journalists over at MSNBC have descended into utter hysterics. What you're about to see is going to blow your mind in terms of how much they're admitting that the midterms are going to destroy their woke world, and they're recognizing they may never recover from the red wave to come. You are not going to want to miss this.
Digging deeper here, we've got some all-time midterm highs that should serve as red flags for the Democrats. The wrong track, 71%, all-time midterm high since we've been polling. How about presidential disapproval on the economy sitting at 57%? Again, we hadn't recorded that ever that high in our poll. And the third one, the direction of the economy. In the next year, is it going to get better or worse? 50% say it's going to get worse. Again, an all-time high in midterm polling.
All right, so that's Chuck Todd of NBC's Meet the Depressed, as the great Rush Limbaugh used to call them. And what he's highlighting there, what he's frankly sounding the alarm on is the right track, wrong track polls. Okay, so if you're a regular to this channel, and if not, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. But if you're a regular, you'll know that there are two major indicators for how a midterm election is going to play out: presidential approval ratings and right track, wrong track. What you just saw NBC admitting is that one of the two major indicators for determining how a midterm is going to play out is the worst they have ever seen for the party in charge, the Democrats. And so this is where the cable affiliate MSNBC comes in. They're recognizing that things are now so bad for the Democrats, MSNBC hacks are now pivoting to a new midterms messaging for their dwindling audience. And this new messaging is, our democracy is at stake. That's the messaging. Listen to this hysterical rant by MSNBC's ultra-leftist puppet, Chris Hayes.
The fate of American democracy hangs largely on these little digits you see at gas stations across the country. As wild as it is to say that, it's basically true. Oil companies, OPEC, Saudis, not exactly eager to make sure prices are low before an election where Democratic candidates are vulnerable. It's also why Saudi Arabia might want to suddenly announce a cut in oil production right before the midterms. Of course, Democrats can't just throw their hands up and say, oh, well, because the future of American democracy is in, as we report night in, night out on this program, real peril, existential peril. One of the two major parties is currently under the thrall of a guy who tried a violent coup unsuccessfully, but has basically announced he'd do it all over again. By one analysis, 60% of Americans will have an election denier on their ballot this November. The stakes in the upcoming elections are the highest they've been in a very long time. This is the first post-coup election in America.
Yeah, you heard it yourself. According to MSNBC's ultra-leftist puppet, Chris Hayes, this is the first po-coup election in America. It's a po-coup election. He just pronounced post about as accurately as he gets his facts. Once again, just like the other MSNBC hack we highlighted yesterday, once again, MSNBC is lying to you. Chris Hayes just spewed blatant lies. An official FBI investigation concluded there was simply no hard evidence whatsoever that the riot on January 6th was a result of an organized plot to overturn the presidential election. There was no insurrection, there was no coup, and these left-wing activists disguised as journalists know it. They're very familiar with the official FBI report, but they don't care because that report doesn't fit into their far-left, anti-Trump, hate-everything ultra-MAGA narrative. And so they peddle lies. And that's exactly what we just saw there. According to Chris Hayes, our democracy hangs in the balance on the tip of gas prices. Mr. I hate everything to do with fossil fuels Hayes is now freaking out that those very fossil fuels, those evil environment poisoning big oil commodities are about to decide the future of our democracy. That is how bad these midterms are going as far as the lamestream media is concerned. In fact, you haven't heard anything yet. Check out what Joy Reid and her panel had to say about American voters who actually care about inflation.
See, we talk about this all the time. Democracy on the ballot. It's not just a slogan. You know, I mean, we're talking about women literally losing agency over themselves. Donald Trump has said, you know where he's going to challenge the election? Already in advance, he says he's going to do it. Philly. That's a dog whistle, right? I mean, it's not even being hidden. At this point, it's just fascism in the open. And what scares me is that I'm not sure everybody minds. You know, I think there are some people who will just sit back and let it happen, thinking it won't be that bad. And that, to me, is almost more dangerous than the radicals.
Well, I mean, I'm not calling, I'm not going to say that, you know, the GOP are Nazis at this point or whatever, but it certainly sounds very familiar to what happened in Germany, which is a bunch of citizens. Adolf Hitler gets a third of the vote. Nobody thought it could happen there. They kind of went along because they said he was going to solve the economy and fix inflation.
Yeah, that's right.
You can hear those sorts of things. And then, oh, lo and behold, a few years later, they lost their democracy, and they're all like, how'd that happen here? That's my worry. That is my worry. If obviously the price of a hamburger, the price of milk, the price of gas is concerning. But that is a short-term problem. The loss of a democracy will decimate everyone's freedom. I think we shouldn't try to be saying you need to adopt our culture or whatever it happens to be. That is the white nationalists. It should be, we stand for democracy. We stand for the Constitution and the dignity of all. That's what we stand for. And if you're with us, join us.
That's exactly right. And then we can
there you are. If you care about rising inflation, stagflation, recession, your 401k, if you're worried about any of those things, you're just like German voters in 1933. That's who you are. According to this borderline illiterate panel, I'm not calling you a Nazi. I'm just going to compare you to them. I mean, again, this is what actually passes as legitimate political they think this kind of messaging is going to help them. But obviously, I think we can see this is all an admission. Collectively, this is all one big admission. And you know what every single one of those woke leftists are admitting. But first, we take care of each other in this channel. So make sure to click on that link below and head on over to my special website for the Ready Project Food Supply. Gang, no one makes preparing for an emergency more easy and affordable than our good friends over at the Ready Project Food Supply. Their food kits last up to 25 years in storage and include breakfast, lunches, and dinners. And if you act right now, you're going to save 25% off a full 4-week emergency food supply when you click on the link below to my special website. So whatever you do, don't wait. Come on, they last for 25 years. Just click on that link and start building your emergency food supply today. All right, so what we have to understand, MSNBC hosts talk about dog whistles all the time, right? It's one of their favorite terms in their limited vocabulary. But their constant reference to losing their democracy is itself a dog whistle. It's the admission that they know that their woke world is about to get crushed. And here's the key, there's no coming back. That is what losing our democracy means to these people. Losing our democracy means losing wokeness. Wokeness is democracy for the far left. Remember, to be woke means that one has become aware, one has become awakened to the racial, gender, and sexual discriminations that are systemically perpetuated in our nation. According to these true believers, outside of wokeness, there is no true democracy. Wokeness is democracy. Wokeness is all about destroying those racist, sexist, phobic barriers that have up until now disenfranchised citizens from becoming full participants in our public square. And what's about to happen in these midterms, which even the woke left is admitting, what's about to happen is that a massive red wave is about to sweep ultra-MAGA candidates into power who are promising to crush wokeness in all its forms throughout the nation. From Carrie Lake to Blake Masters and J.D. Vance, Herschel Walker, from Doug Mastriano, and even Dr. Oz, they're all promising to push back against the absurd and insane wokeness that's infected the leadership of the Democratic Party and most especially the radical leftist ideologues at MSNBC. And there may not be any recovery from this. Red Eagle Politics is arguing that the electoral map is structured in such a way that once the Republicans take the Senate, the Democrats may not gain control again for as long as a generation from now. Others are predicting that the Republicans, given their redistricting advantage, may hold on to the House for the next 10 years. This is ultimately what losing our democracy is ultimately all about. The left is freaking out that they're about to see the crushing of their precious cancel culture wokeness, and they are. Their days are numbered. Their day of reckoning is finally at hand. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on the John Fetterman debate disaster with Dr. Oz. You're not going to want to miss that. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.